Welcome, everybody, to the Liberty United show. I'm your host, Jacob Oakes. Tonight, I wanted to address the idea that all is well in Zion. I think that a big reason why we're losing the battle for liberty is because a lot of people assume that government doesn't always get everything right. I have yet to meet somebody that just thinks that government is perfect. But I think a lot of people in Utah just believe that they're, they might not get everything right, but everything's just hunky dory. It's all fine. We don't have the devil at our doorstep. They're not chipping away in significant ways, not just at leaves or even branches. They're destroying the roots here in Utah. And one one thing that I thought was just so crazy was something that happened to my friend Mike Brown, but uh, we're gonna have him on the show. There's amazing things about him beyond just this incident that happened a few years ago. But guys, let me welcome to our show Mike Brown.
Hey Jake, thanks for having me.
How you been?
Good. Yeah. It's great to be on, and I can't believe it's been 4 years since the crazy thing that happened. So it's wild.
Oh man, time's just flying too fast.
Yep.
Uh, well, Mike, let's hear just a little bit about you first. Your husband, father. How many kids do you guys have?
Yeah. So I've been married for 25 years. We have 5 boys. So all boys, no
Boys,
girls.
wow.
And yeah, they keep us busy. So, life is really just about, whatever they're doing surrounding their activities, and just, being with them and seeing them grow up. So yeah.
Yeah. And your wife is Jen Brown. She runs the organization Utah Citizens for the Constitution.
Yep.
And you also own a texting.
Yeah, a texting company called Raindrop Texting. So we do a lot of texting for political campaigns and for nonprofits, and just it's a great way to get into people's hands. The message that needs to get out there. So yeah,
That's awesome. Now, Mike, I recall being at the Capitol 4 years ago for a very important bill being addressed. And they have a rule, an administrative rule about having no signs. And perhaps there's something that might make sense about not having giant posters waved around, although I tend to favor less regulation on speech. But you showed up wearing a sticker. Is that right?
Well, actually, I showed up just with my "We the People" shirt on, and I've been to many committee meetings in the past, and for different bills I support or am against, and there's always some little lady that has put together a bunch of stickers that have to do with the number of the bill.
Take
And
one, pass it on.
yeah, exactly. And they just pass them on. So this was no different. And it was a full house because it had to do with vaccine passports, that the public was very much against, and me included. But yeah, I was just sitting there before the meeting, and just like other meetings, somebody's passed a sheet of stickers that said, yes to HB 60. And so I took 2 of them, put one on my hat, put one on my shirt, and just like, about every other committee meeting I'd been to. So nothing was different.
So I shared what happened, what took place here with many people afterward, and they were shocked to hear. They couldn't believe that something so crazy over something not just little, but it's literally you weren't doing anything wrong. It's not just that it was little, you were doing absolutely nothing wrong. And it's so crazy that many people couldn't believe it. They kept saying, there's got to be more to the story. Like maybe he was egging the police officers on, maybe he had like broken the law outside the chamber or something before. It was just so out there. Nobody could believe that what I was explaining to them had actually took place. So you showed up just wearing a "We the People" shirt, and you wanted to go voice uh, your opinion about a bill to our representatives. They work for us. They represent us. We are the voice, the people. We decide how we should be governed in our community. And you showed up merely wearing a shirt and then put on a sticker expressing support for a bill. And then what happened from there? You were approached, or actually, the chairman had called a recess because he said people were not complying. Is that right?
Yeah. So before the meeting, like I said, the stickers were passed out, and people were putting them on. But then the sergeant at arms came around and said, "You got to put your stickers away." And I asked him why. I was like, well, "Why do we have to do that?" There's nothing against having a sticker, because, like I said, we've always done it before. And actually, one of the highway patrol officers, I was asking him, why do we have to do this? And he said, well, whatever the chair says is the same as law. And the chair of the meeting in this one was Senator Dan McKay. And so I was questioning him, like, really? There's really no rule against this. So he acted like, well, if the chair wants to change things, he can. And so I questioned and said, okay, that seems ridiculous. And so then the meeting, started, and Dan McKay immediately said, we're going to take a recess because, some people aren't complying. And he gave like this whole spiel about, if you haven't been to one of these before, we have our rules. And he even, flippantly said, you can flip off the chair, you can flip me off. But, he was, just being very flippant about, no pun intended, about what we could and couldn't do, the decorum. And he said, we can't have any stickers. And so he, and he's making that up because there was no rule against stickers. Like you said, there was a rule about signage, but nothing with stickers. And so he said, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, for people to comply. And I figured he was probably talking about me, because I had questioned, why they wanted to do that. And so, as soon as he hit the gavel and said, we're going to take a recess, I complied. I took off the sticker and, put it under my, I sat on it and put one of them on the floor. So I did comply.
Before we proceed, at this point, you have taken the sticker off, it's removed, and it's out of sight.
Yep, exactly. And so, I was like, okay, whatever. But then somebody else, the sergeant at arms, the one who initially told us what the chair wanted done, somebody else that was attending the meeting, they asked him, they said, well, why do you have a Ukraine flag pin on? Isn't that he's questioning what that is. Isn't that political? And so I seconded that. I said, yeah, so why can you have that, but we can't have, stickers or, because it obviously seemed contradictory. And then immediately, the sergeant at arms, Daryl Griggs, he said, that's a veteran's pin, sir. He thought I was questioning his veteran's pin. And I said, no, the Ukraine pin, because the other guy pointed out the Ukraine pin, which it just seemed very ironic that they could wear Ukraine flags, but I couldn't have my sticker. And for whatever reason, this must have just, set him off. And he immediately pointed over to the highway patrol, and they came over to me. And that's when, all heck broke loose.
And this is all over a sticker, mind you.
Yeah.
There was you were not chanting. You weren't chanting. You weren't waving around a poster.
No, not at
You
all.
wore a sticker.
Yeah.
And what did the sticker say? Did it say anything profane?
Unless letters and numbers are profane, but it said yes, HB 60, because that was the bill, HB
Yep.
60. And it had like
Yes, HB 60.
yeah, big
So it said yes to a bill. That's
yeah,
all the
yeah,
sticker
that's
said.
all it was.
And before everything escalated, you had even complied with violating your natural right and constitutionally protected right and case law, even case law, when the Supreme Court often gets things wrong, case law even is on your side. Uh, you went against your rights, removed that sticker, and they still escalated the situation. We have a clip of this, Mike. Uh, I'm sure this was a crazy thing to go through, but if you'll walk with me down memory lane, I'm going to play a little bit of this.
All right.
The 5 minutes is over. Okay, it's recess right now. Officers doing the wrong side of history. If you arrest them.
Oh my gosh.
I complied. I took the sticker away. That's your choice.
His sticker isn't on. Just go.
We are in recess, sir.
Are we in recess or not?
You want to leave? Okay. So you need to remove the stickers. I thought we were in recess. Are we not in recess?
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
What the heck? What the crap? What the heck? Why are you allowing this?
This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. He did what you asked.
What is
He
happening?
did what you asked.
It's a freaking sticker.
He put the sticker away. Why is he being arrested?
What are you guys doing?
He did what he was asked.
You do not live in Nazi Germany.
I used to hold that honor. I'm embarrassed by you.
This is sick.
Your job is not an excuse.
It's
Holy cow.
Oh, stop there.
Wow. Yeah, it's hard to watch, say the least. But yeah, I still can't believe it happened. Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Folks,
I mean, in America, in Utah of all places.
In Utah, Mike, we are supposed to be a city on a hill. And I'm going to be bold for a minute. And friends and family, you have to bear with me, but if you know the Brown family, you know that they are the salt of the earth. And he was hogtied, taken out into the hall, and it didn't end there. He was taken to the basement of the Capitol and held, being denied legal representation until he kept demanding. And our good friend Phil Lyman came to help you. We'll get into that in a minute. But he was hogtied in the hallway and taken to the basement of the Capitol, all because of a sticker. All is not well. It is time to speak up. And things haven't gotten better in the last 4 years. Things are only getting worse. And Utah's supposed to be a city on a hill, folks. Mike, what was going through your mind when you were in the basement of the Capitol?
I mean, the whole thing was kind of like an outer body experience. Like as soon as they grabbed me, I couldn't believe what was happening in the moment. And, I literally had a panic attack and went limp and they literally hogtied me and carried me to the basement. And the whole time while I was down there, I couldn't believe what was going on. And I even, when they finally, they took the handcuffs off because I was, just sitting there surrounded by, 6 officers. What was I going to do? They finally took off the cuffs. And I remember just asking them, I'm like, I support the police. I support the Constitution. What are you doing? why are you violating your oath? This is ridiculous. Like I just could not believe what was happening. And they didn't even know what they were charging me with. Like the one officer, he was on the phone. He's asking a superior, I guess. He's like, okay, now what was it, the shirt or was it the sticker? Like they didn't even know what they were doing, to be honest. And I think they were just taking orders from the Sergeant of Arms, Daryl Griggs, and Senator Dan McKay, who ordered the code red, so to speak. And the horrible thing about all this is the two main instigators of this, Dan McKay and Daryl Griggs, they received immunity, legislative immunity. So essentially they can do whatever the heck they want to people and they can claim immunity for it. And that's one of the ridiculous things about all this is the two who are most responsible got off scot-free. And so it's just ridiculous, makes zero sense. And that's the ironic thing is, they didn't know if it was for the shirt, which the shirt said "We the People" on the front, and on the back it had the Statue of Liberty with the preamble of the Constitution. And I even had, and this is another weird thing too, before they grabbed me, one of the legislators came over and offered his coat to cover up my shirt because he thought it was the shirt that said "We the People."
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not. I mean, the whole thing is just ridiculous.
It's Twilight Zone.
It totally is. It totally is. The whole thing is just, like I said, it was like an outer body experience. Like, I can't believe this is happening in my state and in my country.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, I want people to put yourselves in the shoes of Mike Brown. We have a civic duty to oppose or support bills, whatever have you, your opinion. You have a duty to make your voice known. We can't blame our legislators all the time if they don't know how their constituents vote, how they want them to vote. Now, a lot of times they're not listening to the people. That's a separate issue, though. But as individual citizens, we have a duty to be involved, right or left. We have a duty to be civically involved. Mike was doing his civic duty, being a good citizen, friendliest guy you'll ever meet. Showed up wearing a sticker and he's hogtied, take it down to the basement of the Capitol. Put yourself in that shoes. I really want you to put yourself in that position because it is time that the people take back this state. Liberty United is actually on a mission right now. We've got some really cool things in the works that's going to put us on the national stage. And I've shifted away from talking about national politics a lot because we need to focus on our own backyard. However, it's going to give us a platform that the fight for America is in Utah. Because if a state like Utah, if the Mormons could be overtaken, one of the most religious and conservative states, they could get at the roots here, they could take the whole union. We are the first red state to do state-backed Pride Month. We were one of the first red states to do ranked choice voting. We welcomed the NSA here. We welcomed the UN here. Even if you are not a Latter-day Saint and you don't hold some special view at the LDS Church and that there's some kind of spiritual war attack against the LDS Church, strictly from a secular standpoint, when we go down the list, there's no denying that Utah's under attack. And why are we a target? Why is that? Why does George Soros dump money into buying up local races here in Utah? Why is that? And it's because if they could take over Utah, they could do any union. They can do the whole union. Mike, I understand you got a settlement on your case. Give us an update on fast forward 4 years. Where does that stand now? And then why do you think it's important to come to this? And instead of just focusing on negative, what can we do to have a positive impact? So we'll give an update on where things stand with that, and then also what's significant about it, and what's something positive we can try to do to have an impact.
Yeah. So just 2 months ago in February, we reached a settlement, and this is after, because I sued, the Highway Patrol, Senator McKay, Daryl Griggs, and unfortunately, like I mentioned, the two main culprits, Dan McKay and Daryl Griggs, they were given immunity, legislative immunity, and so our case was essentially gutted because they got off, even though they were the ones most responsible. And so our case was just against the officers, and we ended up reaching a settlement just a couple months ago. So it's some solace to know that obviously there was a wrong done, and was able to get something from that. But there's a lot that needs to be done. I mean, Senator McKay, he is unfit for office. He's been the the reason behind a lot of horrible legislation in Utah, and then this whole experience where he just totally ignored what the citizens our right of free speech. He needs to not get reelected. So, but I will mention, since the incident, I've had several people who have come up to me after that, who were in the room, and they they apologized for not standing up also, and they said, hey, I will not let that happen again. Because if you think about it, if it's more than just one guy who's questioning authority and standing up for our rights, if more people would have done that, then I wouldn't have been singled out, I don't believe. And so, if anything, I think it's awakened a lot of people to what can happen here in here in Utah. So that's good, but a lot has to be done. I mean, more people need to stand up for their rights and have their voice heard. And free speech is obviously the foundation of our country, and especially this year where we're celebrating the 250th anniversary. And last year I had the opportunity to go to Boston and go to a lot of the historic sites of where our country started, and just thinking about, what, we need to get back to that, just the fundamentals of standing up for our God-given rights, questioning authority, and pointing it out when government officials are overstepping their bounds. So, if more people would do that, then we'd have less tyranny. So, but that's one positive is my incident. In the videos, many of them went viral after it happened, and like I said, a lot of people here in Utah, could not believe it. They were shocked as well, thinking that it happened here. So, hopefully, some good will come of that, and that we'll have more people step up and realize that if it can happen to just some dude like me, just some dad here in Utah, it can happen to anybody. So, but
Yeah,
strength in numbers.
That's encouraging to hear that out of a negative unwanted situation, that people are being reflective from it and saying, hey, maybe something like this would not have happened if more of us spoke up. And you could hear people voicing concern in the room. But if more had come and actually stepped forward, I loved the movie Truth and Treason that came out about Helmut Hubner in Germany. Just a teenage boy who said, I'm going to take initiative and I'm going to speak out. And he definitely faced negative consequences. the consequences don't have to be as bad if more people are willing to speak up. But he said, you know what, regardless of the consequence, I'm going to do the right thing. Do the right thing and let the consequence follow. So could some of those people have gotten a citation for interference with an arrest or something like that? It's possible. I think if the entire room physically stepped forward, I don't think that would happen. But if a few more people step forward, there could have been a consequence. But I don't think it would have escalated as badly in your situation. When we all band together, we create the law of synergy. Under synergy, 1 + 1's not 2 wholes. When we're united and working together, 1 + 1 becomes 3. Mike, what are some inspiring things that you've seen in the movement? I feel like the last year, the conservative movement is eating itself alive in some ways. But what are some encouraging things you've seen? An example you could share: people coming together for a righteous cause and making an impact.
One thing that did happen is after my incident is there were, I know of at least 3, possibly 4 candidates, 3 that reached out to me that said that they were inspired to run for office, because of what happened to me. So it inspired them to do something and to put their foot forward and to run to try to, become an official themselves. And so that was definitely a positive. My wife's organization, Utah Citizens for the Constitution, it's gained a lot of traction, and it's grown tremendously. And since its inception, just not long before this incident happened. And so, more people are being involved in what's going on and knowing what legislation is being put forward in our state. And a big example, I would say, is with PIDs, which is it's a way that developers, and actually Dan McKay, he started this whole legislation as well in Utah. But it's a way for developers to pass on their development costs to homeowners. And so basically it's taxation without representation. Mm-hmm. And, this whole issue has been, brought to the forefront, my wife's organization and Tina Cannon, the auditor. So there were some legislation that was passed just this last session to help mitigate the effects of these PIDs. A lot needs to be done, but there's a lot more awareness of, hey, while we were sleeping, not paying attention, there are legislators who have bad intentions and are trying to sneak these things on us. And so sunlight is the best disinfectant, and more people are aware that these PIDs are happening. And so that's definitely a positive, and grateful that we have Tina Cannon. She's done a lot to bring a lot of these issues to the forefront. So I feel like there is, more positivity that way, of at least letting people know here in the state that all isn't well in Zion. There are people who have nefarious motives that have done things that we're going to pay the price for. And so I feel like, I feel positive that things are moving in the right direction, but obviously a lot more can be done. And it can be, like I said, as simple as, when something's not right, stand up, like you said, do what is right, let the consequence follow.
Right.
And if more people do it, then there's strength in numbers. So,
yeah, I have to share that you guys, your family's doing amazing things. We appreciate it. Keep it up. I want to share something funny from Dan McKay. He's the one that gave us the new cartoon flag. Yeah. I mean, there was an outside lobbyist that there was behind it as well, but he's the main culprit, driving force behind the new cartoon flag. And I retweeted or reshared a screenshot where he shared a pride version of it, saying, I love something of the sorts about how he loved the new simple design, makes it more more adaptable for different things in the community. And so he's here touting that our state flag could be adopted into a pride flag version of the new state flag. This is it. I didn't think to send this to our producers to put it on screen digitally before, but so I didn't even add commentary. There's zero commentary. I just posted a screenshot of him doing that, and then he comes on and starts saying that I'm a Nazi and, and I didn't even add any commentary. Why are you saying this if you're not proud of what you stand for? So
yeah, where's your pride, Dan? No pun intended.
Right, and then he blocked me. Then he blocks me, which is illegal for a representative to do. But that's another point.
Blocked me too on X. So
yeah. But guys, I just want to share that this is an example of doing the right thing, letting the consequence follow, but the consequence does not have to be severe if more people would stand up. And that's what we saw during the revolution. We're celebrating 250 years of the inception of America this year. I can't believe we've made it this far, 250 years. It's truly something remarkable and worthy of big celebration, but it came with many sacrifices. And we're not going to restore liberty without some sacrifice with where we're at right now, but it'll be worth it. And it will be also a joyful experience. Mike, what's some final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I love that you brought up the 250th anniversary, and we need to draw from that and remember what those early revolutionaries did. Like I mentioned, when I was in Boston, I really felt that spirit of liberty, and I could definitely relate to Samuel Adams and John Hancock, and just walking in their footsteps, and just after having my experience and just feeling a little of what it means to stand up for freedom and for our individual rights. And we need to remember that, especially this year. And it's a great opportunity with America 250 to remember what those early colonists did and why they stood up and why they fought so hard for liberty. And we need to remember that. So it's a great opportunity to do that this year.
Well, thank you, Mike, for your example, for your efforts. Folks, it is just it's the small things. It doesn't have to be an arrest. It doesn't have to be a George Washington. It's just the everyday folks taking initiative, find some small way they can contribute, help in some way in the movement and defending righteous principles. We're glad that you're tuning in. This is the Liberty United show. We bring to you current events and tying it back to timeless principles. Make sure you check out our website, unitingliberty.com, and also our event on June 13th in Draper City Park. We've got some really amazing faith leaders and also constitutional scholar Scott Bradley. It's called A Great Awakening. The revolution was motivated not just because of some protest against the taxation on tea. It was really a revolution of thought before a bloody revolution, and it began in the churches. It was a Christian movement for liberty. It's a uniquely Christian value, and this is a positive event, free cookout for the family. Come out and get Christians united of all denominations, all faith, excited about defending truth. We appreciate you tuning into the Liberty United show. Keep watching and make sure you're subscribed so you get notified. Thank you.